Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our Eagle Scout Court of Honor this afternoon. At this time, I would like to call on our Senior Patrol Leader, Cecilia Cardone, and the Honor Guard for the presentation of the colors. Would you please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Color Guard attention. Color Guard forward march. Color Guard halt. Color Guard prepare to post the colors. Color Guard post the colors. Right hand salute. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. Color Guard return to post. About face ready. And Color Guard forward march. Color Guard halt. About face ready, and Color Guard at ease.
Thank you, Cecilia. Color Guard, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Scouts and Scouters, family and friends, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Beautiful spring day here in Michigan, if a little cool, and the last time I looked, the Tigers were winning. What more could we ask for today except to be here as we celebrate this auspicious occasion? My name is Jason Pernick, and at Troop 179's annual summer camp, I am the representative of the International Commissary Commission, which, as every veteran of summer camp knows, is located at? You better believe it. I also serve as a Troop Advancement Chair, and it is in that capacity that I am privileged to work with our Scouts as they advance through the ranks. Among the most rewarding aspects of my involvement with the troop is the opportunity to serve on Eagle Scout boards of review. It is there that I have an opportunity to meet with and listen to young men and women discuss their futures, recognizing that they are on the verge of being adults. Having achieved the pinnacle of scouting, these Eagle Scouts are preparing to go out into the world, the next generation of citizens who must take up the mantle of what it means to be Americans. When the board has satisfied itself that the candidate has met all of the requirements for the rank, the board certifies that the Scout is now qualified to be and has earned the rank of Eagle Scout. A happy occasion, to be sure. But there is something else at work, something other than just checking a box and signing off an application. We want each Scout to take away from the board of review an understanding of what being an Eagle Scout means in their lives and in the life of our country. Our nation needs men and women who can step up and do what needs to be done, maybe more so now than at any time in the last century. We must have those who can lead, who can follow, who can teach, who can serve, who can do. The Eagle Board of Review is the last step in a long and arduous journey, a journey which is meant to instill in a young person the skills, the ethics, the values, those things that we need which will best serve that person on their journey into the future. During an Eagle Board of Review, candidates discuss their scouting journey with a panel of adults. We talk about what they learned in scouting and ask them to consider what they're going to do with those skills. Many of the Eagle candidates have some idea what they plan to do as they graduate from the program. Some have no idea. And we adults know that it is not uncommon for young people, having once decided on some course or another, find a new or different way to go. Knowing that there is a world of opportunity ahead of them, we on the board try to leave them with something that will be kind of an all-encompassing answer. We ask them what the rank of Eagle Scout says about them. We want to lead them to one conclusion, easy to remember, easy to understand, easy to express, useful in job interviews or in any other situation in which it is necessary to sum up one's value. We want them to know this about themselves. Being an Eagle Scout means you have proven that you are a person who can get things done. We are here to recognize a singular achievement in the life of a Scout, the pinnacle of Scouting, the award of the rank of Eagle Scout for 4 extraordinary young adults. Calvin Malisow, Jonas Reese, Nicole Waldron, and Noah Wauldron. These 4 joined 264 other Scouts who since 1972 have earned the rank of Eagle Scout as members of Troop 179. 264 men and women from our troop who have proven that they are indeed people who can get things done. Let's take a look at a group of 100 youth that joined Scouting. 12 of them will receive their first religious contact. 5 will earn a religious emblem. 2 will enter the clergy. 18 will develop hobbies which will last a lifetime. 8 will enter a career based on merit badge work. 17 will become Scout volunteers. 1 will use Scouting skills to save the life of another person. 1 will use Scouting skills to save their own life. 28 will continue lifelong hobbies started in Scouting. And of those 100 youth that started in Scouts, 3 will attain the rank of Eagle. And now to introduce our Eagle Scouts, I'd first like to call on Assistant Scoutmaster Brian Efrazy to introduce Eagle Scout Calvin Malisow. And as Brian is making his way here, I'd like the honor guard to escort Eagle Scout Calvin Malisow to the stage. Thank you. Mr. Efrazy.
Hi, I'm Brian Efrazy. For those of you who don't know me, I'm an assistant scoutmaster with the traditional program here in this troop. So it is my honor and pleasure to be up here to introduce Calvin Malisow as an Eagle Scout. I have had the pleasure of working with Cal over a number of years now through the traditional program. More recently in leadership positions, as last year Cal served as the assistant patrol leader for the traditional program. He was in that position for the term that included summer camp last year. Prior to that, he had served as an instructor for the traditional program for a year. And before that, he was in the Axemen during 2 years, both his 7th and 8th grade years, one of which I was the adult leader in that patrol. So for those unaware, the Axemen was our honor patrol that represented the best scouts from the troop, from the traditional program. Going back to when Cal started, when he was a new scout, he had served as an assistant patrol leader, as well as he served in that position as an Axeman. He had one of his years when he was in high school where he actually kind of stepped away from the leadership and was in the venture program, so he could hang out with his buddies and do some of the fun stuff, which all of us like to do occasionally. So I asked Cal, in particular, what he had learned about being in leadership positions as the assistant patrol leader and instructor for the traditional program. And I totally got what he said. He said he learned how hard it can be dealing with younger scouts before they started maturing. All I have to say is amen to that. All right, but actually, he also felt that he was able to help them grow into becoming better scouts. And he had one poignant comment in particular where he said he really enjoyed both his years as being an Axeman because in summer camp, the Axeman would teach the new scouts specific skills. So Cal and one of the other Axemen would teach a particular skill to those new scouts over the course of a couple days. And he really enjoyed that. So, it's really cool in my position when you get to see a kid going from the new scout program into the traditional program, and they start to grow as both a scout and a person, and in some cases actually start maturing and really get what it means to work in a group setting, whether that's in a patrol specifically or more from an overview as a leader for an entire program. So Cal was pretty quiet when he came into our program, but I'd say he had a quiet confidence about him, in my opinion. Not just being a leader, but being a participant in his patrol. I'd say he has a calming presence. I saw this specifically in the Axeman Patrol as Cal was a team player, and even though he wasn't the patrol leader, he helped lead the patrol based on his actions during camps or events. Some of it is just simple stuff like when something needs to be done, just do it. Don't need to be asked. Don't complain and don't look for fanfare. Just be a team player. Cal did that. Additionally, as he had reminded me, there were several camps in his 8th grade year when those particular weekends we were short on youth leadership, and the Axemen had to step up and participate more as acting as Paul Bunyan's. So that's just another example of doing what needs to be done, and also an example of servant leadership that we talk about all the time in scouting. One of Cal's great memories from the Axemen, and he had many, but this one I remember particularly well too, was we had this medieval camp out, and we have a campfire on Saturday nights, and the patrols do skits. And they ended up doing for those of you familiar with Monty Python, the Black Knight skit from the Holy Grail. And for those of you who don't know, so it's based on kind of like a story with King Arthur, and the Black Knight has a sword fight with King Arthur. So Cal played the Black Knight, and of course that character loses all their appendages in the sword fight. But they act like it's no big deal. So Cal really bought into it, and actually the entire patrol did. It went off really, really well. I remember that particularly well, and it was super cool. And I think somebody, Art, do you have a video of that maybe? I thought somebody did at some point. Anyway, on more of a national level, Cal had a great experience going to the National Jamboree in 2023. Some of it's actually in his written comments in the program, so that was at Summit Bechtel Reserve in West Virginia. And some of his most memorable moments were zip lining. And he said they ran up a mountain that took them about a half hour, that if they had walked like everybody else would have taken them a full hour. So that seemed like a pretty good pace, and he was definitely pretty proud of that. And then, of course, he also did a bunch of events around the camp that allowed them to get pins and patches and so on. But this is actually the funniest thing to me. So, he's talking about these great experiences at the Jamboree, but he said one of his best experiences was on the drive down there. They stopped at this Buc-ee's gas station. So I've actually heard people talk about it before, but I've never been there. So he said, he had a lot of excitement to go there, and actually he enjoyed the stop. So that's right. One of the coolest things from this great camp adventure was stopping at a gas station. Unreal. Anyway, in all seriousness, he really enjoyed his experience at the National Jamboree. And last, I can't forget to tell you, and I told Cal I was going to say this, up until he cut his hair off about a year ago or sometime last year, he had some of the best hair in the entire troop. And you can tell based on how little I have, I can really appreciate that. Anyway, congratulations, Cal, on becoming an Eagle Scout.
It's obvious that Mr. Effersey has never been to a Buc-ee's. If he had been to a Buc-ee's, he would know. Thank you, Brian. Thank you for those kind words. Next, it is my pleasure to introduce Eagle Scout Jonas Reese. So will the Honor Guard please escort Jonas to the stage? Thank you, Honor Guard. And at this time, we're going to try some technical wizardry with the kind cooperation of Mr. Chris Seeley there in the back running the board. And we'll see if we can make this work.
Greetings from Portland, Oregon. My name is Brian Bray, and this is my son, Bindon Bray. I'm currently the Scoutmaster of my daughter's troop, 5117, in Portland. I've also been the Scoutmaster for my son's troop, 100, which I met Jonas Reese was once a part of. Before that, I was the Cub Master of Pack 467, where I first met Jonas. Today is a historic day. I wish I could be there physically present to be witness to the ceremony honoring the 4 newest Eagle Scouts of your troop. As a parent of 2 Eagle Scouts and an active leader, I know the amount of effort that it's taken to achieve such a level, and so few in the world have achieved, yet so many around the world do respect. Our scouting journey began in Portland with Pack 456. As Bobcats go, Bindon and Jonas were as adventurous as they come. During their Cub Scout years, it's wonderful to recount the outings and the events that they were a part of.
My favorite memories include going to Winter Lodge, hikes to waterfalls, and of course, the Pinewood Derby. Jonas always had the best designs, including a Star Wars X-Wing fighter, a covered wagon, and a Jurassic Park Jeep.
After crossing over into Troop 100, I can remember the Scouts' first 5-mile overnight backpacking experience on the Pacific Coast Trail at Timothy Lake. Their backpacks were almost as big as they were. Jonas learned on that trip that bringing a book the size of a dictionary was probably not the lightest of camping equipment. Yet, the beginning of his journey to become an Eagle Scout was primed for many adventures to come.
Jonas, congratulations on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. I'm honored to have many memories of our adventures through my early scouting years.
Jonas, you exemplify the meaning of a Scout oath and law. I'm sure you will positively influence all those you interact with and continue to develop your leadership skills in all that you do. Congratulations to you and to the other Scouts of Troop 179.
Up until about 5 minutes ago, we had no idea whether that was going to work or not. And I thought it worked very, very well. You may have noticed that many of the adult male leaders in the troop are follically challenged. You saw the gentleman from Portland. It's no coincidence. Hanging out with teenagers and youngsters in many, many numbers will do that to us. You may be familiar with the word epiphany. In the Christian calendar, Epiphany with a capital E is a celebration of the manifestation of the divine nature of Jesus to the Gentiles as represented by the Magi. It is traditionally celebrated on January 6th. The word epiphany with a lowercase e means a sudden insight or intuitive understanding. One day on a mountain in New Mexico, a young man had an epiphany. I'll tell you about that in a moment, but first I'd like to share with you a few things about Eagle Scout Jonas Reese. As you heard from our video, Jonas came to our troop after moving here from Portland, Oregon. As if moving across the country wasn't challenging enough, Jonas and his family found themselves in a new home during the COVID years, which presented its own set of challenges. Jonas had been a scout in Portland and found that being a member of scouting went a long way to easing the anxieties of a long journey. Jonas found that the second point of the scout law, a scout is friendly, meant that upon joining Troop 179, he was instantly friends with dozens of other scouts. Those new friends helped him overcome both the stress of moving to a new home and the anxieties brought on by the pandemic. And so having met this new group of friends, Jonas moved through the troop. He learned leadership skills that led him to the Walled Lake Western Marching Band. I erroneously wrote in Walled Lake Central because that's where my children went, and I hurriedly crossed it out and wrote in the correct school. Jonas learned to be courageous and to persevere even when he was afraid. He learned that he could get things done for himself and others. Jonas said that although the personal fitness merit badge was not among his favorites, having described himself as lazy, he found that once he got in better shape, he enjoyed the badge. Lazy was his word, enjoyed was my word. On other merit badges, Jonas especially enjoyed communications, woodworking, orienteering, rifle, and scuba. At 16, Jonas said that he was ready to get serious about achieving the rank of Eagle. He learned that for those who know nothing about the rank, they might see it as a little notch in life. But for those who do know, being an Eagle means that you are among a small group of people who have proven that they can get things done. In addition to leadership, Jonas acquired skills in public speaking, personal management, and cooking, skills that he knows will be useful in the long term, but found them important in the near term as well. Which brings us back to the word epiphany. It's not unusual for people to discover previously unknown things about themselves when they undergo a challenging experience. I clearly recall discovering that I liked guacamole. It's like putting a bite of summer in your mouth. And before that, I thought I wasn't going to eat anything that color green. That was an epiphany. I can recall thinking about how silly it was that my father, a skinny kid who grew up in Detroit, watched Hee Haw, a corny, cornball, twangy country music show from the 70s. And I can remember even being embarrassed by it. Years later, I discovered that the hosts of the show, Buck Owens and Roy Rogers, made fabulous music. That was an epiphany. Famous 19th century humorist Mark Twain observed that when he was 18 years old, he thought his father was the stupidest, most ignorant man alive. By the time he turned 21, he found that his father had learned a lot in 3 years. That was an epiphany. Jonas had an epiphany while he was in the mountains of New Mexico, hiking with his crew at the Philmont Scout Ranch. Jonas told me that when he signed up for the trip, he had no clue what to expect. He thought it was going to be 2 weeks of a lazy summer camp experience, lazing around, napping, just like summer camp. Midway through the 2-week excursion, Jonas found out that the trip consisted of 2 weeks of hiking, and he did not think he was going to enjoy himself. Jonas had an epiphany when he discovered that he was a picky eater, and that pickiness would not give him the calories he needed to hike in the mountains for 2 weeks. Jonas told me he had this epiphany while puking off a mountain. His words, not mine. Having learned from this vomitous experience, Jonas abandoned his picky eating, began to take care of himself, and enjoy the trip. The truth is, life is full of discoveries. Some come with the sudden insight of an epiphany. Others take some time to learn and understand. The road to discovery lies before Jonas and his fellow Eagle Scouts. We know that they are well prepared for that journey. Ladies and gentlemen, Scouts and Scouters, it is my singular privilege and high honor to introduce to you Eagle Scout Jonas Reese. And now at this time to introduce Eagle Scout Nicole Waldron, Mr. Rick Newell, Scoutmaster of Troop 51. And as Rick makes his way up here, I'd like to call on our honor guard to escort Eagle Scout Nicole Waldron to the stage. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you. And to correct your program, it's NEWILL. As who's presenting?
I didn't hear you.
It's NEWILL.
Oh, I didn't change it?
No.
You told me to change it. I'm sorry, Rick.
No, that's not the first time it's happened. Believe. First time being at one of these Eagle Corner of Honors. Very enlightening, beautiful presentations by the other guests. And we'll see how this goes. There'll be more to that. Really nice write-up in here. I've known Nicole for at least 6 or 7 years. I was taking my troop to Gettysburg, and Scott goes, well, I'd like to go on that. And it's like, yeah, sure, you can tag along with us. How about my 2 kids? And it's like, well, okay, So they went along with us to Gettysburg. We had a good time. They were well behaved, and other than that, I've known Nicole. I've worked with her at summer camp. We've done 2 summer camps together, and I've worked with her on multiple NYLT staffs, which is probably how I know her the best. And by working with her, I guess mentoring her through some of her presentations and skill development and things like that, in which obviously she's turned out very well because she's an Eagle Scout now. I'm trying to think. I mean, watching her at summer camp was also a good experience, and how the youth respected her and followed her lead and didn't make any fun of her, at least to her face. And I'm going to make up your time loss here, but now I lost my whole thought. One of the things I realized why I was chosen to do this today was because I don't know all the little backstories behind Nicole, so you won't have the funny stories that everybody else has gotten so far. But congratulations, Nicole, on achieving your Eagle Scout.
Thank you, Rick. And now to introduce Eagle Scout Noah Waldron, Assistant Scoutmaster Art Malisow. And as Art is making his way up to the stage, I'd like to call on the honor guard to escort Eagle Scout Noah Waldron to the stage.
Well, as Noah's coming up here, I'll just make a comment that I may not have been a Scoutmaster for quite as long as some of the others because I guess I'm not follically challenged enough yet. So anyways, good afternoon. My name is Art Malisow, and I'm an assistant Scoutmaster of the troop program here at Troop 179. And today I have the honor of introducing Noah Wauldron. I have known Noah for about 10 years now. In the troop, I've seen him grow from a quiet 5th grader to a quiet Eagle Scout. Noah is a man of few words, at least with the adults and the adult leaders in his life, but he is a man of action. Even now, in preparation for this Eagle Court of Honor, I asked him about what he would like for me to talk about. He shrugged his shoulders and said, "You've known me for most of my life, in and out of scouting. I'm sure you can think of something." So here it goes. All right, so first, personally, I've held many leadership roles in scouting over the years, including volunteering at several District Pinewood Derby events, being a camp director for the Ottawa District Day Camp for several years, and having staffed and being the course director of National Youth Leadership Training, NYLT. Why is this important? In all of those activities, Noah was there volunteering. In the early years, it was more that he was dragged along with his father, Scott, but even at a young age, he was helpful in assisting with the Pinewood Derbies, day camp, and many other activities. For many years, He assisted in running the fishing station at the Multi-Lakes Day Camp. So those of you that were there, you'd probably see him helping with the fish. Nicole helped as well. And as he grew older, he became more active in scouting, including gaining brotherhood in the Order of the Arrow. Outside of the troop, Noah spent several years attending NYLT, first as a participant and then as staff. He found a niche with the quartermasters at NYLT and also learned leadership skills. On the troop side, after Noah crossed over from Cub Scouts to the troop, I had the opportunity to spend more time with him. I saw him grow in the troop program, from an unsure 5th grader to a more confident 8th grader. He held various positions in the troop, both at the patrol level and the troop level. Noah was like many of the youth in our troop in that he had the ability to vanish at times when there was work that needed to be done. However, whenever asked directly to help with a task, he was always be there to help. In the troop, just like with NYLT, he liked to assist with the quartermasters and work with the trailers. This work ethic carried him over to his personal life, where Noah has been working and earning an income for several years. Noah's Eagle project was a major endeavor of excavation, sweat, and perseverance. Those of you that have seen it, it was a pretty amazing Eagle project. There might have been some heavy equipment involved as well. But I was unable to assist with the project, but I was able to come by after it was done and saw the results. And Noah, along with his family, friends, and scouts from the troop, were able to build a mile-long trail for the finish center. And by all reports, Noah was able to show leadership and do the work necessary to complete such an immense task. Noah is always willing to assist friends and family. When he had a family member with a serious illness, he stepped up and took on more responsibility to help his family. There were times that I thought he may be overwhelmed by the situation, but he persevered and I believe became stronger and more independent in that time. As I mentioned earlier, even though he can be quiet, we had the opportunity to have many conversations about life and scouting. I was able to help him achieve rank over the years and was his merit badge counselor for several merit badges. We discussed life and his future. It was obvious for many years that he would want to be in a profession that was physical and he was able to work with his hands. It's no surprise to me that when he graduated high school, he entered a welding program and received a welding certificate. I know that he will be successful in the future following in that direction. So when I first met Noah and in the early years of the troop, just like with any other youth, I had no idea how he would mature. Would he be able to make rank? Would he reach Eagle? Would he go to a college? Would he graduate? Would he find a job? Would he become independent? Today, I know the answers to those questions. In reaching the pinnacle of scouting, in becoming an Eagle Scout, Noah has shown perseverance, dedication, and has worked through hardships. Noah is becoming a responsible adult and has a good work ethic. I know that he will be successful in life in whatever he puts his mind to. I present Noah Waldron, Eagle Scout.
Thank you, Art. And yes, it is true that Art Malisow has more hair than I do. I think that it's a function of the amount of stress that we encounter. If you look for Brian Efrazy, Greg Hooker, he's in the back there, me, you'll see it's obvious that there's more stress in what we do than what Art does. Maybe that accounts for it. Let's take a look at some of the Eagle Scouts that these Eagles will be joining. Here are some names that you may have heard of before. Eagle Scout Gerald Ford, President of the United States. Eagle Scout Steven Spielberg, film director, producer. Eagle Scout Robert Gates, Secretary of Defense under both President Bush and President Obama, director of the Central Intelligence Agency, and former president of the Boy Scouts of America. Eagle Scout Mike Rowe, TV star of Dirty Jobs. Eagle Scout Hank Aaron, Baseball Hall of Fame member. Eagle Scout Steve Young, San Francisco 49er quarterback. and Eagle Scout Neil Armstrong, astronaut and first man on the moon. And now to present our Eagle Scout investiture, I would call on Eagle Scout Chris Matthews, Troop 179, Assistant Scoutmaster. Mr. Matthews.
Good afternoon. To become an Eagle Scout, you have been tested in every area of scouting. Through the ranks of Scout, Tenderfoot, Second Class, and First Class, you were required to learn scouting skills. You tied knots, found your way with a compass, learned to cook, learned to camp, learned to care for yourself and others. Upon getting the first class rank, you were ready to enter the next phase of scouting, learning leadership. You learned the star and life ranks by earning merit badges, successfully completing leadership positions in the troop, and giving service to your community. After earning the life rank, you had been fully trained for the challenge that scouting presented to you, the Eagle Scout requirements. Requirement 1 challenged you to remain active in scouting. Requirement 2 challenged you to continue to live by the principles of the Scout Oath and law. To prove that you had done this, you were required to obtain letters from individuals who knew your personality and would be willing to attest to your conduct as a scout. Requirement 3 challenged you to learn 21 merit badges, 11 required and 10 elective. For each of these merit badges, you were required to select and meet with a counselor approved by the Boy Scouts of America and satisfy them that you were knowledgeable in these requirements. Requirement 4 challenged you to prove your abilities as a leader. You had to secure positions in the troop and be responsible to complete the requirements of the position. You were pushed to be the best leader and meet a standard set by those who held the positions before you. Requirement 5 challenged you to plan, develop, and give leadership to those in a service project that gave benefit to the community. This project was required to be approved by your Scoutmaster, your troop committee, and the Michigan Crossroads Council. Requirement 6 challenged you to reflect on your future life and write a statement that listed your ambitions and life purpose. You presented this plan to your Scoutmaster, who reviewed it with you and determined if you were fully ready to become an Eagle Scout. Upon completion of these requirements, you came to the final step of your scouting trail, the Board of Review. Your troop committee conducted this board with a representative from the Michigan Crossroads Council in attendance. They reviewed all of the requirements to ensure that you have met every challenge from Scout to Eagle. At the end of this Board of Review, your troop committee and the Michigan Crossroads Council forwarded your application to the National Council of the Boy Scouts of America, requesting a review of your application for the approval of you as an Eagle Scout. Donald Trump, President of the United States, and Roger A. Crone, the Chief Scout of the Boy Scouts of America, Brad Tilden, the National Chair, and W. Scott Sorrells, the National Commissioner, signed the application of Calvin Malisow, Jonas D. Reese, Nicole E. Waldron, and Noah S. Waldron, officially making them Eagle Scouts. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. If you watched your scout complete an Eagle Scout project, or you helped a scout with their Eagle Scout project, you know how much work goes into planning, executing, and following up on the project. Imagine what that must look like on a national scale. Can you guess how many hours are spent annually on Eagle Scout projects in the United States? 1 million? 5 million? How about this? Annually, over 9.1 million hours are spent on Eagle projects in the United States. 9.1 million hours. Remarkable. And now to present the charge to the Eagle, I'd like to call on Troop 179 Assistant Scoutmaster, Eagle Scout Greg Hooker. Oh, Mr. Schultz, I apologize. Oh, and it's on the program. I'll have to take this up with my editor. Sorry, Mr. Schultz. So, Troop 179, Associate Crew Advisor, Eagle Scout Mike Schultz. Mr. Schultz.
So thank you. Like Mr. Pernick said, my name is Michael Schultz. I'm actually an Assistant Scoutmaster now, but I'm still wearing the venturing uniform because I like it better. A highly prized trophy for those scouts and adults that complete a high adventure trek at the Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico is the classic Philmont bronze belt buckle. Kind of looks like that. That's a bigger version of it, but in 2016, for the troop's 50th anniversary, we commissioned a custom belt buckle from the same Eagle Scout in New Mexico, Norman Cutliff. He makes the official Philmont buckles, and actually just right from the back, I found his contact information. And we commissioned in an actual custom 179 belt buckle that's got the troop information and the Babe the Blue Ox, which is our emblem. And like the official Philmont buckles, we made them in a bronze finish, very similar to the Philmont buckles. And that's an official troop buckle, but it's actually available to anyone that wants to purchase one if you're interested in supporting the program. But like the Olympic Games, there's a hierarchy of medal and colors in the Boy Scouts. And unlike there, the Order of the Scouts is bronze, gold, and then the highest is silver. And that's why the medallion on the Eagle Scout Award is silver. And so in that tradition, we made a special run of troop buckles in a pewter silver finish exclusively for scouts that have earned the Eagle Scout rank in the Troop 179 or in the Summit Award in the Venturing Crew 179. And today I am honored to, so this is what that buckle looks like. And so today I'm honored to present this special item of recognition that is unique to the Troop and Crew 179. No other units have an award quite like this. And this program was envisioned to be self-funded using no troop funds, where the sale of bronze buckles either to scouters or scouts that haven't earned the Eagle, or anyone that's just a fan of the troop, could purchase a bronze buckle and wear that proudly anytime, and not in uniform anytime, and support the gifting of these buckles to the Eagle Scouts. And since the program's inception, we have gifted 66 buckles to Eagle Scouts. That includes these today. And that is to say that's a full 25% of all the troop's Eagles. And so with that in mind, I ask you to consider purchasing a buckle. And even the Mr. Cutliff, who made the buckles, he was so supportive and appreciative of the program, he's donated some along the way, which is nice. So today I present a silver buckle to each of these Eagle Scouts, and on the back it is stamped with a sequential number for the number of Eagle they are in the troop. Nicole is number 253, Noah is 263, because Nicole got hers a couple years ago and waited for her brother. And then Calvin is 264, and Jonas is 266. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Well, it is apparent that I made several errors in not only the program, but in my notes. And so I found that I'm going to have to refund half of my commission to the troop. And I have some change around somewhere. So now, without further ado, for the charge to the Eagle, I'd like to introduce Assistant Troop 179 Scoutmaster and Eagle Scout, Mr. Scott Waldron.
If I could have the four of you please stand. And I know in the audience we have a few Eagle Scouts here with us. If you would all please stand for me today. Now, if you all wouldn't mind coming down and lining up in a semicircle in front of the altar here, that would be fantastic. We can see how important this is to each of us Eagles, that we continue to support our fellow and new Eagles. You see by the gentlemen here and ladies and gentlemen that are here that represent our Eagles of past and present. Today we have our newest Eagles here. I have the honor to give you the Eagle Scout charge on the occasion of your elevation to the highest award in Scouting. The Scouts of all nations constitute one of the most wholesome and significant movements in the whole world's history. You have been judged by the Boy Scouts of America, also now known as Scouting America, as being worthy of this honor. All who knew you rejoice in your achievement. Your position, as well as you know, is one of honor and responsibility. You are a marked individual. As an Eagle Scout, you have assumed a solemn obligation to do your duty to God, to your country, and to your fellow Scouts, and to humankind in general. This is a great undertaking. As you live up to your obligations, you begin honor to yourself and to Scouts everywhere. America has many good things to give you and your children and your children's children after you, but these good things depend on, for the most part, the quality of its citizens. Our country has made a great past. You can help and make a great future even greater. I charge you to undertake your citizenship with solemn dedication. Be a leader, but lead only toward the best. Lift up every task you do and every office you hold to the highest level of service to God and to your country. So live and serve those who you know that will be inspired by your finer living. We have too many who use their strength and their intelligence to exploit others and to gain selfish ends. I charge you to be among those who dedicate their skills, knowledge, and ability to the common good. Build America on the solid foundation of clean living, honest work, unselfish citizenship, and reverence for God, and whatever others may do, you will leave behind you a record of which every Scout may be justly proud. Scouts, you will rededicate yourself now by repeating the Scout Oath. Repeat it slowly as you stand before your fellow Eagle Scouts, resolved to uphold for its principle with the same ambition and perseverance that have been brought to you, that you have brought this far. Scouts, on my honor.
I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
2. Your conduct along the trail has been excellent. You have rededicated yourself to the principles of Scouting. But one more thing is important, your future. As an Eagle Scout, you become a guide to other Scouts. You become an example in your community. Remember that your actions are now a little more conspicuous and people will expect more of you. To falter in this responsibility would reflect not only on you, but also on fellow Eagles and all Scouting. The torch you carry is not only yours, but it is ours. Scouts, please assemble, and if you would, shake the hands of your fellow Eagles. Fellow Eagles, you may take your seat again. Eagles on the stage, have a seat.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott. Next on our agenda is the presentation of the Eagle rank, and as our Scoutmaster Chuck Williams is making his way up here, let me note that a few moments ago I listed Apollo 11 Commander Neil Armstrong among the famous Eagle Scouts, and if you are of a certain age, like I am, you have among your heroes Neil Armstrong. As a measure of how important scouting was in Armstrong's life, consider this. While en route to the moon on what was to become the most astounding journey of discovery in modern history, Armstrong took time to recognize one of scouting's earthbound adventures. On July 18, 1969, while flying toward the moon, Armstrong spoke to the scouts gathered at the National Jamboree. He said, "I'd like to say hello to all my fellow scouts and scouters at Farragut State Park in Idaho, having a national jamboree there this week, and Apollo 11 would like to send them best wishes." If you've ever seen one of the Apollo capsules, you know how small they were. Imagine 3 people in that craft for some 2 weeks. Astronauts can only carry with them a very few personal possessions, for them the most meaningful. Among the things that Commander Armstrong carried with him was a World Scout badge, that same badge that we wear on the left side of our uniforms. And now to present the rank of Eagle Scout, our Troop Scoutmaster and Eagle Scout, Chuck Williams.
Well, what a great crowd. What a great crop of eagles. Very nice. Me and my wife have been watching the eagles out west that were born earlier this spring, and they're just about ready to fly, just like these guys are. You'll have to excuse me. This gets emotional for Scoutmasters. I've known these guys each, well, seven, about 4 or 5 here. But for a while, I've watched them grow. We've had many conversations, many conversations. I feel like I know each one of you. And it's been a pleasure to be your Scoutmaster. So, I wanted you guys to do something for me. I put a page in the book, looks like this. It's a page with these Eagle Scouts that are on the bottom here. It says the Eagle Scout obligation. I don't want you to read it now. I don't want you to read it when you go to our reception. When you get home and you have a quiet moment, read the thing through. But more importantly than what it says, I want you to look into the face of each of these scouts. Arthur Aldridge was the first Eagle Scout ever. He was part of the Arctic expedition that first went down to the South Pole and was part of being down there and with it amongst the pioneers that did that back in the early 1900s. Neil Armstrong, Jason just talked about him, the first man on the moon. That's pretty great. You know the second man on the moon? His name is Gus Grissom. He's an Eagle Scout too. Their capsule that landed on the moon was called the Eagle. And when they landed, Neil Armstrong said back to Mission Control, "The Eagle has landed." It had a double meaning, obviously. Sorry. Gerald Ford, a personal hero of mine. I grew up in the 70s. I think he He's a president that never got elected to president or vice president. He was a congressman from Grand Rapids, Michigan. And there were some bad things going on in the 70s at that time with our presidency, and both our vice president and our president had to resign. And through that succession, they chose Gerald Ford to be first vice president and then to succeed to be president of the United States. And they generally most people believe that they selected him, that the choice was based on the fact that he was an honorable man. And there was a lot of question about our politics, as there always is, and do we have an honorable man in office? Probably the most controversial thing that he did was to pardon President Nixon from any further prosecution on any of the things that he had done. And his feeling on that, while a lot of people were upset about it, was that our nation needs to heal. We need to get over this. Next guy, Steven Spielberg, one of my favorite directors. I mean, E.T., Indiana Jones, one of the Star Wars. I mean, this guy has every good movie that in my lifetime, this guy has directed or produced or written or done something. He decided to become a director when he was working as a scout, and when he did his photography merit badge, it inspired him to go on to do movies and to want to do things. And by the time he was in college, he had already produced his first movie. He became an Eagle Scout, very outstanding person, spoke very outspoken about Eagle Scouts and scouting in America. Their next person is Gary Peters. He's the senior senator from the state of Michigan. That is a significant place to be. And Gary has represented us for multiple years now in the Senate, and is very good. And the last guy is kind of new, David Montgomery. David Montgomery is the running back for the Lions that has done all kinds of things for the Lions over the last couple of years as they've had all their successes and stuff like that. And he's the national spokesman right now for the Boy Scouts of America, for Scouting America. Last week at the national meeting, he had a chance to talk about and do an interview about what he thought about scouting. And he said when he was a young person in high school, he had two things in life. He had scouting and he had football. And he knew that scouting was going to be the thing that makes him the kind of person that he wanted to be. And so he put priority over scouting than his football career. And as soon as he got his Eagle Scout, he says, then it was all football. And now he's on to this. And the other thing I thought that was significant of what he said was that any time in life, whether it's on the football field or at the grocery store, that I feel pressure and anxiety and stuff like that, I think for a minute, I know I'm prepared and I'm ready for this. And this moment is mine. And it gets him over that anxiety and stuff and moves him forward. The thing I want you guys to look at the faces of each one of these guys. I put in there pictures of them when they were a scout, when they got their eagle. And one of the things that I notice about them is that they look like you. They look like every Eagle Scout that has come up to this stage to get his eagle. They are just people that did the same thing you did, went to high school, got their Eagle Scout award, and they said, well, what am I going to do with my eagle? And they went on to these famous notorieties. But there's over 1 million scouts. And if you list all the people that maybe all of us might recognize, it probably wouldn't even come up to be close to 100 of the Eagle Scouts. but there's a million Eagle Scouts out there. And the one thing that all Eagle Scouts have done throughout the time, the last 100 years in scouting, is that they've given service to their community. They know what that's about. They know that it's important. And each and every one of them step up to, whether it's to coach a baseball team or be a person in the pit for the band and help haul equipment around, or it's to come back and be part of scouting and be a scoutmaster. It doesn't matter. All service to the community makes our community better. And so we should recognize that as far as Eagle Scouts. So, as I said, I've known these guys, and there's something about each of them that I wanted to mention. Jonas, you showed up here from Oregon. Well, is it 4, 5? 5 years? Yeah. Immediately, like first night he was here, he was friends with a group of people. I mean, when he said he was friendly, he was immediately in there and asking me, what leadership position can I hold? He took on a project of copying all of our old patrol flags, scanning them, or taking pictures of them, so that we would have a record of all these flags and not have cases and cases of patrol flags sitting in storage. Immediately, what became an impact on our troop, even though here's a guy who's, so it must have been 12 or 13 years old, that just showed up here from Oregon, not knowing it, but anything about us other than we're scouts. Noah, I've watched you overcome adversity time and time again. You have this ability to stay quiet, to stay friendly, to stay cheerful, and to work the project until the project got done. And while it may have taken longer, you made sure that it happened. And I think that that is a real feather in your cap. I think it's something that belongs to you, and you own it. Calvin, I could say many, many things about you, but the one thing that sticks out in my mind is a year ago, pretty much a year ago today, okay, we were looking, we had a bugler in the troop for about 5 years, and we were looking for a new bugler. And Calvin said, you know, I'll try, and so I gave him the sheet music, and a couple weeks later, he had gone out and gotten a bugle, and at summer camp, some 4 weeks later, he did every call just perfectly. And the respect I have for you and your musical talents to be able to pick it up, a different instrument, albeit a horn instrument like you're used to, I just thought was amazing. I was a musician in high school. I know I couldn't do it. So I just think that that's amazing, and you did a great job. And Nicole, I met Nicole when she was just 9 years old. We were working together at the state fair, at the scout display at the state fair, and I ran it for several years. And for several years, Nicole came and helped. In the first year, at the end of the week that we were there, she invited me to her birthday party. And I thought, who's this little girl who is inviting me to her birthday party? And I thought it was important that I go. And it was a wonderful dinner and started a wonderful friendship that has gone on since then. I think of her as a second daughter. Sorry. So that's my thought on Eagle Scouts. Let's get on to presenting their awards. I've asked Eagle Scout Mike Schultz to come forward and help me do that. And so Mike, if you could grab our first candidate, Calvin Malisow, and if I can have the Malisows please come forward to be part of presenting his Eagle Award. If you guys want to stand and face the audience, that would be great. Okay. Let's start pinning some pins on. We usually do mom's pins first. This is always a fun moment. Can I have a member of the family please put his Eagle medal? The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Calvin Malisow of Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. Calvin. Okay, if we can have Jonas and his family make their way to the stage. Can members of Calvin's family please present him his Eagle badge? The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Jonas D. Reese, Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. If I can have Nicole Waldron and her family members come up, please. Is that the pin back for the eagle? Thanks.
It used to be pretty easy with just guys, but it's a little different with a girl.
Oh, come on.
You just can't reach in there. Hang on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Nicole E. Waldron, Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. All right, Noah. So male or female doesn't matter.
Pin was a little finicky.
The Boy Scouts of America is proud to award the rank of Eagle Scout to Noah S. Waldron, Troop 179, Farmington Hills, Michigan, in recognition of successful completion of all requirements for Scouting's highest rank. Okay, the last thing before I'm done. We've framed a picture for you to go to present to your parents. So if you guys want to grab your pictures and head on out to them and give them their picture.
Chuck, is this the first time that a brother and sister have received the
It
Eagle
is.
Award jointly? I know we've had brothers before.
We've had brothers before, but not a brother and sister.
Remarkable, remarkable. Well, now, I don't know how you feel about this, but this will give me the opportunity to sit down for a little while and stop talking. We've now reached the point in our festivities where we'll call upon the Eagles for their comments on this afternoon and their journey to Eagle. And so first I would like to call on Eagle Scout Calvin Malisow. Calvin?
Hi. So I'd like to first thank my family for helping me get here. And I'd also like to thank my dad specifically for pushing me to be able to get Eagle, because if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be up here right now getting Eagle. I'd like to thank my brother for getting me into Scouts in the first place. If it wasn't for him joining Cub Scouts, I probably wouldn't be in Scouts right now. I'd like to thank my mom for just always being there and supporting me through everything. And scouting has taught me a lot of things. One thing was, well, how to lead a project, with my Eagle Scout project in particular, because I learned that you can't just do it. You have to take a step back and sort of be a manager while still leading. Whether that's giving an example, then letting them take over, and also making sure that everything runs smoothly. Another thing was going to National Jamboree, and that taught me how to push myself, because those were long days in the hot sun in the mountains of West Virginia, and the group that I was with, I think like 2 of them were cross-country runners, so we would get places pretty quickly. And so Scouting also has taught me how to be just leadership in general. Going to National Youth Leadership Training, MYLT, taught me how to lead. Like, I also used it in marching band, where I was both a family and section leader. And Scouting has turned me into the person that I am today, because it has taught me how to be a leader while not being the managerial type, the boss type, where they just yell at you and then go sit in a chair. I'm the kind who's up there with you, doing what we like to call servant leadership. Yeah.
Thank you, Cal. That is the way to end a speech. Yeah. Nice work. And next up for his comments on this afternoon, Eagle Scout Jonas Reese. Jonas?
Love these awkward little silences we have. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming on such an important day. For those of you who haven't met me, I'm Jonas. For those of you who have, no spoilers. I began scouting way back in first grade. I actually didn't start in Portland. I started in Boston, Massachusetts. I've been around a lot, you know. Thank you, Dad, by the way. I started when my father first took me to my first Cub Scout meeting and told me you only have to try it once. And I'll admit I was a little hesitant at first, but I'm very glad that he did end up taking me, because I feel like through scouting I've been able to go on such an amazing, exciting journey that's really shaped me into the man that I am today. Scouting has brought me all over and given me some of my fondest memories, most of which I didn't think I'd enjoy so much until I got into them, which brings me to Philmont. Philmont was fun, 2 weeks and nearly 70 miles of hiking through northern New Mexico. Now, I'll admit, 14-year-old me, you know, when my parents asked me if I wanted to go, I thought it was just camping. And absolutely no hiking, which I was actually not a big fan of hiking at the time. In fact, until I went to Philmont, the longest I had ever hiked was 7 miles in a day. You cannot imagine the surprise I had. Still, I decided to go for it, and it led me to have some great experiences and encouraged me to become more adventurous, especially in the case of other high adventure campouts like Sea Base and National Jamboree. Also, younger scouts, Philmont is a lot of fun, but also a lot of hiking. So I would recommend starting with Sea Base and maybe getting to Philmont afterwards, like stretch your legs a little bit beforehand. All those experiences taught me about leadership as well, through leading the group at Sea Base and having to partially lead the group at Jamboree. I think it really shaped me and got me ready for my Eagle project. For those of you who don't know me, again, the project I actually ended up completing was my third planned project. I had complications with my first two that essentially wasted about a year of my time getting prepped for it. So, had a lot of fun getting ready for those. But I feel like after multiple complications, I was finally able to find something that worked for both me and the community I was helping. And I'd like to give a thank to Ms. Pashak, the principal of Walled Lake Western, who I don't believe is here right now, but that's all right. I'll say thank you to her later, to help me facilitate that project and really, help me find the experience to begin with. If there's any lesson you can learn from me, it's to not be afraid to try new things. Always stick to what you're doing and maybe start planning your Eagle Scout project a little bit before your 17th birthday. I'd like to thank all the Scout leaders who have helped me along this journey, including Dr. Bray and my old pal Bindon from Portland, who recorded that lovely video for us earlier. My parents for encouraging me along the way. The family of mine from out of town who spent so much time to get here for me. My siblings, the staff of Walled Lake Western High School, and my girlfriend Donnie for sticking with me throughout this whole process. It's been a little difficult, but I think we've held on pretty well. Thank you all very much for coming. I appreciate it. And one last thing, I would also like to say a quick thank you to my grandfather, Dan Reese, and my uncle, Andy Meisen, who unfortunately passed away earlier this year. But, I feel like they really are proud of me, and I'm glad that I was able to pull through for them, Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonas. Very nicely said. And next for her comments, Eagle Scout Nicole Wauldron. Nicole?
I just want to start off by saying I have a lot to say, but that's nothing new. So good afternoon. It feels pretty unreal that I'm standing in front of you all today. I've dreamt of being an Eagle Scout since I was 8 or 9 years old, long before women were allowed to obtain Boy Scout ranks. And if you know me, even in the slightest, you probably know that I am one of, if not the most indecisive person you've ever met. So one thing I was never unsure about, though, was wanting to obtain the rank of Eagle. As a young woman in scouting, I found strength in knowing that I belonged in spaces that traditionally hadn't always been open to me. I found my voice in leadership roles, in team settings, and in service projects. I learned how to advocate, not just for myself, but for others. That sense of empowerment has become a driving force in how I approach my education, my career paths, and my relationships. This journey has been anything but easy, but I can officially say I made it. I finished my Eagle project almost 3 years ago, and you think the excitement would have worn off by now, but honestly, I'm still just as proud of myself today as I was back then. One of the values from scouting that has stayed with me the most is the simple but powerful slogan, "Do a good turn daily." At first, it just sounded like a nice reminder to be kind or helpful, but over time, it became a personal principle I live by every single day. Whether it's assisting someone when they need it, checking in on a friend, volunteering my time, or offering a simple gesture of kindness, I've learned that these actions can have a lasting impact. Doing a good turn doesn't always mean doing something big or dramatic. It means being present, being aware, and making the choice to positively impact the others around me. And it's this mindset that shaped how I carry myself in everyday life and how I hope to serve others in my future career in human services every day through both direct and indirect service. Scouting has opened numerous doors for me. First, connecting me with the United Way of Greater Central Michigan, where I've had the privilege of interning since August and am now employed as an impact coordinator. It's been an incredible blessing to apply the knowledge and skills I've gained through scouting in a professional setting while gaining hands-on experience and continuing to grow. To my friends who have never once had to tie a taut line hitch, Thank you for sticking by me when I declined hangouts for troop meetings and campouts, and really showing up for me when I needed it during my Eagle journey, especially my project. Your questions like, wait, you camped on a tarp in the snow and ice in February? Or how many merit badges are there? Helped me step back and realize how far I'd come. Marissa, every time you or your parents asked, how's the Eagle plan coming along? Or how can we help? And even just ordered another holiday wreath to support mine and Noah's scouting endeavors, you reminded me that no act of support is ever too small. Mo and Ari, you cheered every milestone, large or tiny, and made every rank feel like a winning of a championship. Your steady encouragement, inside and out of scouting, carried me further than you know. Zane, let's be honest, I wouldn't have survived the hot summer camps and freezing campouts without you. Whether it was suffering through some pretty bad food we made together or navigating being vice presidents of the crew together, you never failed to make my scouting adventures unforgettable, to say the very least. Evan, you listened to me write my plans and speeches and heard my sporadic ideas for not only my scouting journey, but life itself, and supported me every idea along the way, especially during the planning and execution of my Eagle project. Nico, you pushed me to envision the kind of leader I wanted to be and helped me push myself. I also wanted to specifically thank Kat, Anna, Ella, Sarahi, and Chaz, as well as all of my friends that I made while away at college, who have been an incredible source of support throughout this entire journey. Balancing classes, project, and social life along my scouting life hasn't always been easy, but your understanding and encouragement made all the difference. Whether it was hanging out late at night, cheering me on from afar, or simply reminding me to take a break and breathe, you kept me grounded and motivated. Your friendship has been a vital part of this achievement, and I'm grateful to have such thoughtful and inspiring individuals by my side. To my many friends I made at NYLT, Danny, Chris, Logan, Aria, Teo, Zach, Max, Chathan, and so many more, thank you. Together we conquered some of the wildest and most memorable moments I've ever had in scouting. And each of you turned that course into a turning point for me. NYLT became a catalyst for the person that I am, and because you challenged me, you laughed with me, and you proved what a strong team looks like. Even now, you're the people that I choose to lean on for advice, motivation, and a reality check when I need one. I'm grateful for every inside joke, late night strategy session, and push to do better that we shared. You helped shape the person that I am today. On top of these particular people, I also wanted to give a shout out to Randy, Tom, Jennifer, Rachel, Rick Newell, Art, Steve, just everyone from Scouts, and all of the adults that have guided and supported me through my NYLT journey. I would not be able to do this without you all. My sister Lexi's contributions to my Eagle journey were both practical and deeply personal. If you know anything about my sister, she would do literally anything for my family and she was the quiet force that kept things moving. Every time I doubted myself, she was the first one to remind me that perseverance runs in our family. Every time I succeeded, both in and out of Scouts, she was already cheering much louder than everyone else. Tonight, this badge represents her patience, creativity, and unwavering faith as much as it represents my effort. Thank you, Lex, for being my greatest supporter and a constant source of strength throughout my journey. Also, I wanted to give a special little shout out for my brother because, long story short, a few years ago, probably like 2 years ago now, I was sitting in the kitchen and I was eating one of those super big Sam's Club double chocolate muffins. You know, everyone dies for them, they're so good. And I'm standing there in the kitchen and I'm eating this muffin, and then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I cannot swallow. And I'm like, okay, let me drink some water, like it'll be fine. So I drink some water and then I'm like, oh, now I can't breathe. So I'm standing in the kitchen and I'm like pounding on my chest, like trying to make myself cough, and nothing will happen. So I run down the hallway and I open my little brother's room, and he has his headphones on, of course, his little gamer boy. So I'm like pointing at him and I'm like, and he's like, and I'm like, and then eventually he's like, oh, So then he finally takes his headset all the way off, throws it down, and he gets behind me, and he actually gives me the Heimlich till I threw up on his floor. Sorry. But genuinely, like, I looked in my mirror after, I was turning a little blue and purple. It had probably been a minute since I had actually been able to breathe, and my little brother actually did save me till I threw up on his floor, so thank you to him for that. In addition, I would also like to pause for a moment and take a second to honor Harry Price. someone whose guidance is still felt even though he's no longer with us. Whether it was a quiet word of encouragement after a tough day or a gentle reminder that true leadership begins with service, Harry had a gift for making every scout believe that they could achieve more than they thought possible. I still remember him saying, "Leave every trail better than you found it," because it captured the spirit that he lived by. Whether it was scaring the absolute daylights out of me every time I saw him, showing me how to dig a cat hole, or telling me any little joke that came to his mind, Harry was a fundamental part in my growth and development as a person and a scout. Tonight, as I received the rank he hoped I would continue to pursue, I'm carrying his example in my heart. Thank you, Harry, for the wisdom, patience, laughter, and kindness that continue to guide me and so many others. Earning the rank of Eagle Scout is a moment of pride, but more than that, it's a lifelong commitment. It's a commitment to live with integrity, to lead with compassion, and to serve with purpose. It's a promise I made not just once during this ceremony, but one I renew every day in how I choose to live and work. So when people ask me, what did being an Eagle Scout teach you? My answer is this. It taught me how to lead, how to serve, how to overcome, and how to grow. It taught me that success isn't about recognition, it's about responsibility. It showed me that one person with a clear purpose and the courage to follow through can truly make a difference. And perhaps more importantly, it changed the way I see the world. It helped me become someone who looks for solutions instead of problems, who listens with empathy instead of judgment, and who believes in building up others no matter the circumstances. Being an Eagle Scout changed my life, and joining Scouting America was the wisest decision I have ever made. Before I close, I did want to shine a spotlight on 3 truly extraordinary mentors whose guidance forms the backbone of my scouting story. Each brought a different strength: vision, discipline, patience, courage, and sheer determination. And together, they shaped the leader standing here today. So Art, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Art, if I don't already tell you and everyone else, you are my adult bestie, as I always used to say. Your support for me doesn't just stop in scouting, though. I remember when I officially joined the troop and crew and how you would always check on me no matter where I was, what I was doing. And I distinctly remember driving up to summer camp one summer, and my dad was letting me practice driving. It was before I got my license, and I was like, oh my God, this is going great, this is going great. And then we're driving down the highway, I'm going like 75 miles per hour, and I lose all power in the car. So then I'm chugging up this little hill, and my dad's like, keep going, keep going, keep going. But the brake wasn't working and the gas wasn't working. So I'm going up this hill, and then eventually we get off this ramp, and we're stopped in front of this little church, and we're like, wow, we're like 30 minutes away from camp, and my dad's like, we're calling Art. Art's always the first person that comes to mind. So you were the first person we called, and you never hesitate to be the first to help others when they need it. You were there in less than 30 minutes, rearranging your cars so that we could throw all of our stuff and ourselves in there. Just want to say, you can fit so much in his car. But this is just one instance of your never-ending love and support of others. I have laughed with you so hard that I nearly peed my pants, ranted to you about all of the crazy things that we encountered in the troop and NYLT, and have truly enjoyed having you alongside me since the day camp days, where I was even too young to grasp how remarkable you are. I promise to carry forward the empathy and integrity you live every day so the next generation feels the same confidence you gave to me. Thank you for being a mentor, and thank you for being the person we all hope to become.
Thank you.
Next, I'm not sure where Chuck is right now, but Chuck, if you could make your way down here. We can stand wherever I can talk really loud. So we can stand wherever I can talk really loud. Okay, Chuck, let's be honest. You've been trying to recruit me since I was in the 5th grade. But your recruiting tactics definitely worked. I used to join my sister and dad on campouts in middle school and just sit with you in the GOAT area, not knowing anyone or anything that was going on, but you welcomed me with the warmest of arms and made me feel included and like I really did belong. By age 9, I was insisting you be invited to my birthday dinners because to me, you were already family. I still remember the Michigan State Fair weekends when our troop ran a booth. While I demonstrated how to make s'mores on a tabletop electric burner, you circled back every few minutes to see if I needed more marshmallows or a morale-boosting Guernsey milk or sweet treat break. Those small kindnesses taught me that great leaders aren't measured by how loudly they speak, but how closely they notice. And you noticed everything. Whether my dad and I told you about the tiniest accomplishment, an A on a final exam, a new merit badge, or a rank requirement sign-off, you celebrated as if I had landed on the moon. Your enthusiasm made me feel like the most important person in the world and reminded me that every win, no matter how small, is worth a cheer. You weren't just my scoutmaster, you were the steady voice that said, "You've got this," when my confidence wavered. You sharpened my knots, yes, but more importantly, you sharpened my sense of purpose. Your belief in me has become the inner soundtrack that plays whenever challenges arise. Today, as I accept my Eagle badge, I see your fingerprints on every requirement met and every obstacle overcome. Thank you for turning camp chairs into front row seats, for celebrating the small victories, and for providing the true leadership that is measured by the lives it touches. I cherish your guidance, I admire your heart, and I know the impact you've had on me is everlasting. Okay, one more, and then I'm almost done, I swear. Dad, if you wouldn't mind coming up. Sorry. Dad, before I learned how to tie a knot or read a map, you were already guiding me through life. You showed up day after day, not just as my dad, but my steady support and big rock. Whether it was early mornings or late nights, through every high and low, you were there. Your support went far beyond the activities we shared. When I doubted myself, you believed in me first. When I struggled with tough decisions or faced setbacks, you never rushed in to fix things, but gave me the space to grow, always ready to catch me if I fell. That quiet faith you had in me made all the difference. I remember the nights you stayed up helping me grow through some sort of problems, whether schoolwork, friendships, or the uncertainty that life throws at us. You taught me patience, resilience, and how to face challenges with grace. More than that, you showed me what it means to love unconditionally, to be present, and to never give up on someone you care about. You celebrated every little victory with the kind of enthusiasm that made me feel like I could take on the world. And when things got hard, you reminded me that setbacks aren't failures, they're chances to learn and come back stronger. Your example has shaped not only how I see scouting or achievements, but how I live my life. You taught me to care for others before they ask for help, to prepare thoughtfully for what lies ahead, and to celebrate every step forward, no matter how small. The impact you've had on me ripples out far beyond our family. Your kindness, humor, and wisdom touches everyone around you. I see it in the way my friends and others look up to you, even when they don't realize it. And I'm not sure how many of you know the song "The Climb" by Miley Cyrus, but there's a verse of the song that reads, "There's always gonna be another mountain, I'm always gonna wanna make it move, always gonna be an uphill battle, sometimes I'm gonna have to lose. Ain't how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side, it's the climb." One of the things I remember most clearly is how you always reminded me it's the climb. Not just a phrase, but a way of seeing life. Whether I was frustrated or tired or doubting the path ahead, you'd gently say it's the climb, meaning the challenge, the journey, the growth. That's what really matters, not reaching the top. Dad, everything I am and everything I hope to be is built on the foundation you laid with your love, support, and endless encouragement. You've been my mentor, my cheerleader, and my safe harbor in life's storms. I'm carrying your lessons with me into every new chapter. Tonight isn't just about celebrating an achievement, it's about honoring you and promising to pass on the love and strength you've given me. Thank you, Dad, for everything, for the love, the patience, and the belief that I could be more than I ever imagined. I'm so grateful to have you now as my guide, and always, I love you. kind of to close it out, as I stand here today wearing this Eagle badge, I feel the weight of two things: the miles already walked and the road that still lies ahead. Earning Eagle is not a finish line, it's a launch pad, a promise to keep serving, keep leading, and keep challenging myself to rise higher. Thank you to everyone in this room, family, friends, mentors, and fellow scouts, for placing your faith, your time, and your talents in me. Your support turned a childhood dream into tonight's reality, and I carry each of you with me as I take the next step. May we all leave each place we touch a little better than we found it, and may this moment inspire us to aim just as high in whatever adventure comes next. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. Scott, the other day I was trying to convince Nicole that she should go to law school, and she said, no, absolutely not, but I think you should start saving. So with that, I'd like to call on Eagle Scout Noah Waldron for his comments. Noah?
No, it could never be that long. But hi, as you've heard from Art, I'm Noah Wauldron, and I just want to thank him for being my representative / introduction personnel. So thank you, Art, and your whole family for being with me from our whole journey. For those of you who don't know me, I just want to thank all of you all for coming. For the rest of us, for me, my sister, Calvin, and I'm not gonna lie, I forgot your name, sorry. Jonas, it's Jonas. Yeah, there you go. Okay. But I want to give an extra special thanks for everyone that has been here for my whole journey through my day camp and my rest of my NYLT staffing adults. I've been staffing camps since I was 7, starting at day camps, where I've met plenty of you and even more of you to come from my soon-to-be longer journey throughout scouting. And while at these camps, you'd probably remember I haven't always been the best rule follower and not the best task follower. And as Art mentioned, I'd sneak off and disappear and do my own thing. And it's just simply because I got bored or just wasn't interested in the program, I'll be honest. But for some of you who know me from the troop, you know about the time with my new scout peers, we were sneaking around midday, running across the frozen lake. Half of us fell in, the other half ran. Long story short, they found out, got yelled at, but that's a story for another time. And then another time that I'm not sure if the adults know about, it was pouring out. I think it was Rendezvous maybe, I don't remember what camp it was. But so, me and my new scout buddies thought it'd be a great idea to dare a couple of us to swim across the river while it was pouring out. And you know what? I stepped up and I did it. I didn't care. I swam past that river and back, and I made it back just fine. But I don't regret any of my past mistakes. I learned from them. It helps me be a better person than I am today from learning from my stupidity. But we're not going to worry about that right now. But if the adults didn't know about that, they do now. Sorry, guys. Let's see. But I don't regret any of it. All my past mistakes helped me grow and develop, and other times you'd know me for being a slacker and playing magics with my friends, until we got yelled at by other adults. But that also led me to where I wanted to learn more about leadership and developing to the person I am today, and leadership styles and guiding others, which brought me to NYLT, which helped me make other mistakes along my journey, which we're also not going to talk about. But we also don't have to talk about that right now. But after my participant year, I went on to staff 3 conditional years where I met even more of my lifelong friends, like Logan, Chris, and Owen over there. Thank you guys. Thank you for being along my whole journey. And I just learned many life skills from NYLT, and it helped me grow into the person I am today. And I just want to thank everybody that's here today for me and these other peers, and thank you. And now I'd like to call up some people for my mentor pins. So I'm going to start with Art myself. I'd like to thank Art for being one of my best mentors I know, and if I had to choose another dad, it would be Art, I won't lie. And for that, I just want to thank him with a mentor pin.
I'll just take it. Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. And then I'd also like to call back up Chuck Williams up here. I'd like to thank you for being one of the longest leaders I've known and one of the biggest helps in my journey throughout my whole quest to becoming Eagle, pushing me and guiding me along my quest and helping me find projects and other new friends. I'd like to thank you formally with this pin for being the best mentor and guidance personnel I know. And then for my final pin, I'd like to call up my father. And like Nicole, I have many thanks due to this man right here. From introducing me to scouting, camping, all my fire building skills came just from this guy. If you guys know about my fires, it's from him. You should see him do something. But he guided me, kept me along my whole journey, pushing me, kept me going with work and other skills outside of life. Taught me so many life skills and other things I'm so thankful for I can't even explain right now. He set me up for life. And I'd just like to thank my dad for being the other best leader I know and best father I could ever ask for.
Thank you, Noah. Outstanding commentary, all of you. Well, with that, the families of our newest Eagle Scouts invite you to join them in the Fellowship Hall to help celebrate. Be sure and stop and take a look at the displays out there and see their scouting history. And with that, we are adjourned.